Welcome to the stream. Let's see. As promised, I am live on a Wednesday. I don't think I've ever done a Wednesday before. Let me just go ahead and get all my ducks in a row. Don't mind me. I just have to do little things here and there. Okay. Make some last minute adjustments. Okay. Let's see here. Push this. Doom 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 doom. Go. Hi, how's it going? Come close to me. Come close to me. As I adjust this. How's that? I don't know. Is it any good? Somebody tell me? Okay. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome. These are the beginnings of how this stuff starts. Not with the whimper. Also not with the bang. A few sneezes and a few technical difficulties. Woo! Welcome. How's everybody doing today? What's what's going on today? Hi, Polka Dotter 17. You came back. Hope you got some good rest. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the blessings. Um, how are you doing? This I don't know mid morning for me. I don't know. Forget where you are, but happy day, happy day. I'm still kind of like trying to figure out when I should start doing all the stuff that everybody asked me to do, which are like the top 5 things and such. I only came up with this last night that I'd be doing this today, so I didn't come in with a huge game plan. I'm happy to have the options. I told ya I'm all right. I'm studying for classes. Yeah, 1:30 p.m. here. Oh, okay, okay. So a pleasant distraction from your classes. What classes are you studying for? Um, can we help? I'm gonna just make some flashcards for you. I need some content, so willing to do it. Well, I guess I should just start, talking at you. Let me see here. English is a final paper. Psych and math. Oh dear lord. Is it even helping you to have me here? I feel like I'm distracting you from actually studying. What if watching the stream makes you have uh, a worse grade for some reason? Also, I did the whole college thing. Grades don't really matter unless you're going into something like real. If you're gonna be like me and be a writer, or got like a degree in theater, don't sweat it. Want to be a doctor? Maybe do sweat it, and and help me encourage you to study properly. And was it you, Polka Dotters, who wanted me to talk about publishing with a low budget? I forgot to write down who asked me what, so I could, you know, very very much my own fault. But I feel like the right person should get the right information. Business, actually. I see. I see. Okay, kind of middle of the road. Someone who's owned their own small business and failed. Um, must say, business is business is a tricky one. You gotta make your own rules. A lot of luck. Um, but luck coupled with knowledge, practicality, a good network. My goodness, forgot to bring my mic over. Whew. You're in for it. You're opening my own one day now. Oh, I wanted the writer's room. Okay, gotcha. Is there going to be a break time in your studies where you'll be able to participate in a writer's room as opposed to just kind of listen off to the side? I wonder. Because part of the writer's room fun is participating. I know Mookie wanted me to talk about writer's block. And part of overcoming writer's block, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is allowing yourself to not judge yourself and enter a state of play, like a childlike state of play. And sometimes it's really fun. It's more fun to participate in a writer's room. It actually takes the intimidation factor out of it. Whenever I went to my first screenplay writing competition or whatever I placed in, I forget, they hosted a panel and they did like a mock writer's room. I was like, ooh, I want to go see, but I don't want to overstep my bounds. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna sit on the side. I didn't volunteer to like participate in the mock writer's room. I sat in the back all quiet, and then as time went on, I realized how stupid that was. How everybody is throwing creative spaghetti at the wall. It's just important to make a choice in a safe space and keep generating ideas until one that excites everyone comes up. And oftentimes I've hosted this digital writer's room in the past, and sometimes we have participation. More times than not, it's been other people kind of hanging back. Some people watch this stream kind of doing other things, which is totally fine. I'm just glad for the views. But the thing that makes a writer's room is participation in other people's points of views and the contribution of ideas. And I've hosted digital writers' rooms before where it's just me posing the question, asking for suggestions, looking for ideas, and then me also filling in the blanks while I see that there are like 14 people in the chat who all came here to because they're interested in writing, storytelling. So when we get to that space, when we have some more people here, I would just encourage you to tell me
if you have a free moment in between studying from something where you feel like, oh, I have the bandwidth to participate, um, let me know. Also, what kind of business are you opening? That's pretty cool. No, oh, okay. 20 to 30 minutes. We'll be taking a break. Okay. I'll set a timer for 30 minutes. That way I'll know. And we don't have to make you feel like you're missing anything. One moment. Sorry, I had to get my liquids. Okay. You ever have that moment where you maybe like called and talked to your parents and then they call you the next day and they're like, "Well, what's going on?" And it's like, "Well, nothing really happened since the last time I talked to you. I don't know what you want me to say." I'm kind of getting that feeling right now. I feel like I just talked to you guys yesterday. What am I supposed to talk about today? Oh, you know what I can talk about? I'm reading a new book. The book isn't new, it's just new to me. I'm reading The Remains of the Day. The Remains of the Day. Um, don't really know what chapter I'm on. I've been audiobooking it during my long commutes to work. But I started to think, how can this book about a very dry English butler be so highly revered? Um, but the prose is magnificent. Um, the butler's name is Stevens, and he's very. What I'm getting right now is repressed. And his dad was a butler as well, and he talks about him being the more idealistic of the generation of butlers. Uh, and I was like, oh, you're the more idealistic one. Your dad was even more rigid than you because you seem pretty uptight to me. He like prides himself on his work ethic, he has like it's a very profound sense of dignity. Dignity to the job, dignity to the profession of being a butler, and not only being a butler, but being a butler who serves people of greatness who contribute to society. So in some small way, he almost contributed too. And this love story is developing as well. And you can see something's happening. I don't know where we're at yet. He is very highly guarded against this. Um, what was her position? She's like head of the housemaids. Her name is Miss Kenton in the book, but clearly she has affection for him, and he has been swatting it down pretty consistently in all of these flashbacks. A really cool structure, by the way, of course, to be moving forward in the present with his current employer giving him access to his Ford motor to take a road trip. And upon this road trip, him reflecting upon the past. Pretty interesting. Let's see. Who else? Who else? What what about switching categories here? Actually, no. You know what I need to do? I need to get some work going. Let's do this. Going to open up a free form. Okay. Let's see here. We're gonna do a little Mookie suggestion. A little Mookie suggestion. Eric's 5 things. Okay. Then we're gonna have a topic. So 5 things. Five things you need to know how to create a log line. And then we'll do 5 things you need to know before you write. Then we're gonna do 5 things you need to know about publishing with a low budget. And then what else? 5 things. 5 things to do when facing writer's block. Bold. And we also had another suggestion from earlier, which was marketing. 5 things to know about marketing in sub-genres. I'll be educating myself on this today, so I don't even really know too much about the marketing side. And last but not least, the last suggestion from yesterday would be talk about mixing subgenres. You said talk about it. It doesn't always have to be 5 things, I guess. I make my own rules. Thank you very much. So we'll just kind of move through these one at a time. And let me scoot this up. Looks like this needs to be kind of closer together. Wow. So many 5 things. It's going to add up to a lot of things. A lot of things. All right. Let's see here. Let me check the chat. Oh my goodness. Mookie, how long is your commute? It is about an hour there, hour and a half. Sometimes if traffic's bad, 2 hours, hour 45. Back. Yeah. So I am putting in a lot of Audible. Oh, I say that, but I don't give money to Jeff Bezos. I'm putting in a lot of audio books hours. Polka Dotters. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll see you in 30. Polka Dotters, just so you know, sometimes I have to restart my vertical YouTube live stream just because uh but I'll always come back. So if you lose me, don't fret. Okay. So Mook, this is for you. This is a really good idea that you had. I am going to go ahead and start with your questions. Let me pull up my freeform again. Here we go. Here we are. 5 things you need to know. How to create a log line. Let's take this. We'll whoops. Let's take these bad boys. We'll move them off to the side, out in infinite space. So we can focus on this. 5 things you need to know to create a log line. Number 1, I'll say, be flexible. This is about anything in writing, so it definitely applies to the log line. And I hate that it starts off center justified. Okay. Be flexible. Why? I'll tell you why. The industry and the culture change. While your story may stay the same, how you frame it could help it get sold. This is saying, and I say this as if we're saying like the intention of you creating a log line is to sell a piece of work. Sometimes your work is already made, in which case you don't really have to be flexible unless you're marketing something that's already produced, right? So how you describe your story through what lens you decide to tell it could get you in the room based on even specifically a hot button issue or algorithmically speaking, something highly marketable if your story contains an element of something that is like caught on in the zeitgeist. So with that being said, your logline is not always your own. It belongs to the company that has purchased your work, or it belongs to the audience. Let's see, and I'll give an example here. So I'm being perfectly clear. Let me go ahead and just jump online. For a log line, I don't know why, but it just said like Top Gun log line. As a cocky Navy fighter pilot, Tom Cruise battles for the top spot in the elite Top Gun school, battling rivals, falling for an instructor, and fighting to overcome a tragic accident to prove he has the right stuff. Okay, this feels obviously like something from the 90s, right? I'll paste this in here. And this is a log line, and it's a good one, and it reflects the movie, yes. But what happens whenever these 90s kind of Ridley Scott, I say Ridley Scott, Tony Scott, RIP, movies are no longer in vogue, but you still have this wonderful movie. We all would enjoy it, but this doesn't look like a really great way to sell it. It's 2026, and fighter pilots are in the news for, I don't know, some sort of scandal. Let's say maybe bombing a wrong target, something like that. Oh, it's hard to sell a screenplay about fighter pilots now. Well, could your narrative change while you still sell the same movie, like an exploration of um the, and sometimes you could say an examination of the brutal cutthroat naval administration's elite Top Gun program. Thank you. Elite Top Gun program through the eyes of a naive and cavalier pilot must decide whether or not to accept his new mission after the tragic death of his best friend and co-pilot. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken the same story and we've reframed it by changing our log line to something that might be a little bit more friendly for whatever has happened to the narrative of fighter pilots within the culture of 2026 in the present day. Right? That's why I say be flexible. Be flexible. We'd put a lot of work into these log lines, and the truth is that stories are always shifting. We're always reframing them through the lens of culture and time and hindsight. Okay, so that's one. Be flexible. Number two, the hook. You have to hook in your audience with a good story. Here's a bad log line. How can I move this easier? Here's a bad log line. A completely normal man with nothing going on must finish his breakfast cereal before he is late for work and gets a write-up which is actually fine. It doesn't mean anything. He just doesn't want the write-up. He's not gonna. Okay, so what's wrong with this? This is everything that a log line shouldn't be. One, we don't have a flawed protagonist, a completely normal man. Great. That says nothing unless we're gonna upset normality. But do we upset normality? No, with nothing going on. No inciting incident whatsoever. Must finish his breakfast. Not a huge obstacle. Most of us start a breakfast, most of us finish it. It doesn't say that he has a tummy ache and still has to down his Captain Crunch or anything, right? Just must finish his breakfast before he's what? Oh my goodness, before late for work. Why? What happens if he's late for work? Oh my god, he'll get a write-up. What happens if he gets a write-up? Well, nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of a write-up. He just kind of didn't want to get one. Okay, so we meet somebody who is completely normal and does everything that normal human beings do, and there's absolutely nothing at stake and nothing really changes. Terrible, right? The opposite is if you want to look at, well, pull down this Top Gun one again, a flawed protagonist. You have a cocky Navy fighter pilot. Here they do the Maverick, Tom Cruise. Battles for the top spot at an elite Top Gun school. Meaning right here, he's trying to become the best of the best. He's going to be surrounded by the best of the best. It's already a battle. What are his obstacles? He's battling his rivals. Rivals is a little generic here, but for those who know the movie, we understand that it means his fellow students for the top spot in the school. It also means, in this case, like enemies, foreign adversaries that the Navy must fight. Falling for an instructor. Oh my God. The obstacle is that he's in love with this teacher. Oh my God. Another incredible obstacle. What drama? And fighting to overcome a tragic accident to prove that he has the right stuff. We know the tragic accident. If it were me, I wouldn't even like withhold this from the log line, which I didn't in my revision of it. The tragic death of his best friend and co-pilot. So this guy has to battle rivals. He's falling in love. He's grieving over the loss of his best friend while fighting to prove that he has what it takes to go and face the foreign adversaries that America has as a naval fighter pilot. Holy shit, that's a lot. That is a log line that tells me we're going to be able to point a camera at so much good stuff, and it has. Kind of withstood the test of time because they've made a second and are probably doing a third. Let me see what the chat says. Mookie says, some possible items for me list in no order. You need to know the tone of your story. You know what mood you want to create it. You need to know the log line format. I think the Tom Cruise part must have been added later. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Normally in the formation of these log lines, we're trying to create a movie to be made, sold, paid attention to, right? And then Mookie says, I suppose if you said he had steak and eggs for breakfast, you may have upped the stakes. But excellent, Mook. That's why they pay you the big bucks. Okay. All right. So, let's do a top 5, and then we're gonna maybe jump into a digital writer's room for polka dotters. We should have them another 5 minutes before they're done studying ish, and then we'll get back into these top 5 lists. It'll be fun. Okay, so what else can we talk about as the top 5 for the log line? So like, to be more in depth, we need to say that to hook an audience, one needs stakes, a twist, a flawed character, and the promise of a good story. And I want to put this right here. Bad example. Three. Mookie brings up a good point. And I say these, but these are in no particular order. If you want to rank them later, go ahead. They might as well be bullet points instead of numbered, like a numbered list. But genre. Know your audience. Understand what you're promising. Oftentimes, you will sell an idea based on its genre potential. Here's what I like to tell people too. People always go, it's a dramedy. It's comedy and drama. Gross. No, it's not. Pick comedy or drama, not both. There are the art of the dramedy is so nuanced, and only the best of the best can really, really get away with it. Otherwise, if you got away with it, you got extremely lucky. It's hard to mix tones whenever you have elements of comedy competing with elements of drama, and you are a novice screenwriter, director, storyteller, whatever. You'll find that your audience is confused, and your dramedy will invalidate your comedy, and your comedy will invalidate your drama. And if you've ever heard the expression, this person doesn't know what they want this story to be, that is a common note. It's because people are trying to pull double duty. They think that they can do comedy and they can do drama, and that they could bait themselves out of a really dark or tragic situation. The truth is that we're also supposed to be telling the truth, right? It's hard to have a 5-minute funeral scene with a bunch of crying widows and developing a backstory about why this dead person is gone and how they were gone too soon and they left behind a family and a baby with cancer. You add all of these elements, and then somebody comes into the funeral home and throws a pie in the face of the dead person in the coffin. What kind of movie are we in? And why did you invalidate the tone that you just set? Unless you're going to set this up for, unless this is like repetition throughout the entirety of the film, taking the air out of tragic moments. We have to be intentional. We have to we have to have a purpose. We have to know who we're talking to and what we're talking about and how we want the audience to feel at the end of the movie. And that's why I say it's not impossible. These things exist, but when you're approaching a project, when you're in a log line version where you're coming up with a mantra, you're coming up with an elevator pitch to say, this is what my movie is. This is the thing that I always like to keep around whenever I am digressing and I'm getting away from my own story. I go back and I look at my log line as a touchstone to say, oh, right, this is the story that I was interested in telling, the story that I promised I would tell the audience. So consider, is your story a comedy with dramatic elements or a drama with comedic elements? Life is complicated. We have comedy and drama surrounding us all the time. The trap is thinking that you can do a 50-50 split. people will know that people will find comedy in tragic moments. They want to alleviate their own tension, especially if you're causing it. I would just say, with this, keep in mind, oh, 30 minutes are up, polka dotters. I would just keep in mind, uh, picking a lane, sticking to it, and then allowing yourself to be a little bit flexible with those moments within the narrative of the story, and not just getting ham-fisted with it, and not taking your drama and deciding that it's a comedy halfway through. Sticking to your guns or realizing that you're wrong and then having to start over in a new genre. Mookie says, I think some confuse I think there's some confusing a few lighter moments or jokes to relieve some of the tension drama as it automatically being a romantic comedy or rom-com. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference between diffusing tension and your entire um, category of genre. Think about this on a meta level. Think about this from a marketing perspective. People are going to pay lots of money for you to make this film. And if done right, they're also going to pay a lot of money to market said film. And there's going to be a lot of people on a marketing team who are not creatives. They're going to just try to find the best demographic to for your project to get eyes on. Well, who watches this? And between what ages? And between the age, gender, geography, where can we place these ads and how do we market it to them? And if you say, I don't know, which is basically what saying a dramedy is to somebody who has not seen the movie yet, is only getting pitch materials on your behalf, then they don't know. You have to give people a clear direction. You have to, as the author of the story, as the screenwriter, as the director, as the producer, you have to say with confidence who you are, what you are. So whenever it comes time to get eyes on your own project, you can make declarative statements to the world. And don't feel, and you have, I don't know. I just think that if you're not confident about your own project and what it is, how can other people have enough confidence to go and see it? Right? Oh wow. I didn't realize I've gone so far off the page here. Okay. Let's okay, I guess I got to scroll up. Here we go. Number 4. So what do we do? Number 1 is be flexible. Number 2 is the hook. Number 3 is genre. Know your audience. Understand what you are promising. Number 4, the structure. Say familiar, yet surprising. Okay, maybe you've heard me say this before, the terms familiar yet surprising. This is something that all artists kind of abide by, especially all popular artists. I say all. I hate talking in absolutes. Most popular things are made mainstream because they are familiar yet surprising. They are familiar, making them approachable, safe enough to feel comfortable digesting, and surprising, where it's not quite like the last thing that made you feel familiar. It makes you feel Like you are progressing through art and culture and your mind. You know, you can go back and listen to old playlists that you made for yourself in 1999 and go, wow, I have a nostalgic feeling, but what but also there's a little bit of an eye roll to it, right? Like, I can't believe I listened to so much Cisco. Oh my God. But if you think about it now, if you look at the present as if from the lens of the future, the things that you're listening to now, I don't know, the new Harry Styles or Sabrina Carpenter album, may make you roll your eyes in 10 years when you're listening to somebody who's got something a little bit familiar yet surprising, right? Um, we kind of always stand on the shoulders of the artists who came before us. So when it comes to the structure of your log line, we want it to be familiar yet surprising. The structure is the familiar. The surprising is your own story, your own interpretation, your own voice. And yes, there are different kinds of ways to play with the structure, but all structure contains the element of your flawed protagonist. An inciting incident. The obstacles they face. What happens if they do or don't succeed? That is the stakes. Flawed protagonist, inciting incident, obstacles, stakes. I'll put this here. And I can even go back up to this Top Gun log line here and say, prove he has the right stuff. Or what? Or what? I think stakes are actually missing from this log line. While it's caked in drama, I still think it could benefit from some stakes. And also, I just want to say here that we're also alluding to emotional stakes. It doesn't always have to be, if protagonist doesn't accomplish XYZ, the world will explode, right? Here we have overcome a tragic accident, falling for an instructor we know is like a love story, battling rivals. This could be a mental game, an emotional game, which, if anybody's seen Top Gun, it is. And sometimes you can trust the reader to understand that the stakes are within the character growth themselves, which is why I kind of give this one a pass. I still think this is a really great log line. And notice in the reframing of the log line here, did I do it? Did I put stakes? An exploration or examination of the cutthroat Naval Administration's elite Top Gun program through the eyes of a naive and cavalier pilot who must decide whether or not to accept his new mission after the tragic death of his best friend and co-pilot. Yeah. I didn't put the stakes there either. But maybe we're hinting at internal stakes. And also, I don't know. I can be wrong. The structure, familiar yet surprising. So, let's see. What else? Can everybody read this? Do I need to scroll down some more? Also, let me check the chat. What's going on? Mookie's there. Oh, Polka Dotters. You're back, you're back. Okay, cool. Meowfa's here. What's up, Meowfa? I didn't see that you were here because I didn't get my little dancing dinosaur. But thanks for joining us on a Wednesday. My goodness. So nice to have you here. And let's see, and YouTube's fine. Okay, so with that being said, Polka Dotters, let me ask you this. Do you want to be on YouTube Vertical Live for this? Because we're about to put stuff on a big digital whiteboard. Are you phone only? I have to know. We'll round out this Derek's top 5 with I don't even know if I have a fifth piece of advice. Let me think. The hook, the genre, the structure, being flexible, and oh, always have fun, right? A log line should be a story you'd want to see and a story you are excited to tell. Why do I say this? Because going back to the formation of a log line, when we're forming it, we're at the genesis of a story. We're using it as a touchstone to keep us between the ditches. We always go back to it when we say, "What kind of story are we telling?" I forgot what's the story about. Two, it's an elevator pitch, right? Like, somebody give me some money to make the story. Well, what's your story about? It's about a normal everyday guy who is eating cereal until an earthquake opens up the floor beneath him, and he has to find a way to get out of Middle Earth before he is late for his job and loses all of his health benefits. Otherwise, his wife may die of cancer or something like that. Crazy. I just made that up. Not good, but hey, it followed the elements, didn't it? Now, that being said, it's hard to sell something you don't believe in. It's just what it is. If you come up with a picture perfect log line and you follow all of the elements and it hits all of the beats, but you don't care about the story, people's mirror neurons aren't going to fire. Your passion begets other people's passion. Oh, you've got me on the big screen. I'm just commenting on the phone. Okay, cool, Polka Dotters. Are you on YouTube or Twitch? I guess you must be on YouTube. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I don't know how that works from the viewer side. Your passion is infectious. Mirror, neuron approach. That is to say, sometimes you're moved by a really great performance, and that is because someone isn't really good at faking crying. Oftentimes, a good actor will have an emotional well that runs really deep and a lot of things to draw from. And while we may not know what that little substitution is, we do know that we understand a good performance to be true. We all can watch a performance and we can watch two actors cry, and we could all probably for the most part, pick up on all of the social cues, facial actions, and agree whose performance was more honest, rooted in truth, and who was just kind of going through the motions and maybe had a tear stick that day just to get the eyes watering. Human beings do have like a baseline bullshit detector. Sometimes we ignore it. Sometimes it's one of those, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of situations if we become antisocial. And sometimes there are people born with these deficiencies in being able to pick up on social cues. So it's not an absolute principle, but I'm speaking generally, and for the most part, I think we can pick up on authenticity. So whenever you go to tell a story, be sure that it excites you and be sure that you believe in the log line that you have created so you can get other people talking about your story. It takes more than one person to make a movie. These log lines, they're they're mostly for movies, but you can use them in your everyday life. You can use them, and by that I mean like have a touchstone, have a mantra. Um, you are your flawed protagonist. What must you do, and what obstacles must you overcome before something happens to you? We all have life, and we all have conflict, and we all have some level of drama, whether it be big or small. So keep that in mind. I don't know. But have fun with it. Have fun because people uh, will resonate. And if you're confident enough to be passionate in an idea, it just may rub off on somebody who is on the fence about it, in my opinion. Okay. That is the Derek 5 things you need to know on how to create a log line. Came up with that off the top of the dome. We also have 5 things you need to know before you write, 5 things you need to know about publishing with a low budget, 5 things to do when facing writer's block, 5 things to know about marketing and subgenres, and just talking about mixing subgenres. But instead of talking about mixing subgenres, let's actually get into the writer's room where we could maybe experiment with something that went well last time, which is the mixing of subgenres. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give me a moment. Everybody kind of adjust, grab some water. I'm going to save this. I'm going to start a new one. We'll come back to this. I'll open up a new freeform board. Call this Writer's Room. What's the date? Today's date? The 29th? 4, 29, 26. Okay. Pull it up. Where is my freeform? There we go. Okay. Another blank page. Another blank page. We'll call this the Digital Writer's Room. Dun dun dun. Okay. So, in a real writer's room, let's all pretend that we're that we're coming in from the day. Okay. We all woke up today. We all had maybe some breakfast. Hopefully, we did some chores. The small talk in a writer's room is also important. Let's get to know one another. Get to chat about other people's days, and either that will ease us into a comfortable narrative about what we want to write, or maybe somebody has something that inadvertently will inspire us to write something. So I'll start, and while I talk about what I did this morning, I want everybody to get into the chat, and I want you to talk about what you did this morning. Stupid little details. Was your shower cold? Did it rain this morning? How was traffic? Just give me the banal stuff, that banal office chatter that you would normally have with your coworkers. Give me that small talk, okay? So for me, I normally wake up around 5:30 a.m. every day. Today is kind of a day off for me. I slept in. I slept in. I woke up early still, but I Herkle-Durkled. And of course, the Herkle-Durkling is the staying in bed after it's time to get up, I rolled over, I checked the phone, I blocked a bunch of spam email addresses and reported them. I scrolled through Reddit to see if Trump had died yet. He didn't. What else? Um, oh, and then I got up. I had a healthy breakfast. Um, I had two hard-boiled eggs and some overnight oats, some walnuts, and some fruit, some berries, because my doctor was saying, hey, we have to start watching the cholesterol. You have to cool it on saturated fats. And I've been abiding. I've been listening, and I've been having that breakfast for 5 days in a row now. And then I walk my dog, Sugar, my little 5-year-old Boston Terrier baby, around the neighborhood. And it got hot really quickly. It started off as a cool morning. Sun started bearing down on us. We walked for about an hour. Um, and even though we didn't run, we literally just walked around the neighborhood. I was starting to sweat, so I had to shower it off and scramble to put on some decent clothes and get ready to talk to you guys today. And now here I am on Twitch. So, what did everybody else do? Polka Dotter said, I had to stay home because my child was sick. Partner took my backpack to his work, so I had to drive an hour to get it so I could have a study session with my friend. It's rainy and cold here. Also, sad the news had nothing to report. Fantastic. Okay, so Mookie says, yesterday during the budget meeting, we had a 30-minute discussion about the value of regular versus mechanical pencils until one of the 6 participants stood up and left the room. Yo, Mook, you know that's gold. You know you were serving me gold before you even put that in, didn't you? So, just me, and like you guys probably wouldn't notice this if I was running the writer's room, which I am, I guess. We would all be sitting down, we'd all be having these discussions. I'd prompt these conversations, and I'd be listening to you, and I'd be writing stuff down while you guys weren't paying attention to me. But I would say, from Polka Dotters, I had to stay home because kid was sick. And then I would say to drive an hour to get my backpack. So I could study. Drive an hour to my partner's place, I guess. And I'll just be making little notes like this. And what else? I got gas. I bought an energy drink. Energy drink. Dirty windshield. Oh, I hate that thing. And then Mookie's wonderful thing, which was, sorry, I have different chats going on, which is, I'm just gonna copy and paste it. Put it together so well. Okay. Just unify the oh, that's terrible. I was just trying to unify the center right, center left. That's aligned left. Whatever. I don't care. So I'm making these little notes. What else? What else? For me, I guess if I were a writer participating in there, doctor said, watch those saturated fats. Click the circle with the 3 dots. Show fonts. I unified the fonts. It's the aligning left. Oh, there it goes. Jesus. Mook, you're such a genius. What are you doing listening to me? I should be listening to you. You need to host a live stream. I'll listen to Mookie for a day. So the doctor said, watch those saturated fats and Herkle-Durkling. I'm still not really sure how to spell it without consulting. Oh, Durkling. I'm adding an extra syllable in there. Kind of like how it match. I like the way I say it, but it's not right. And the E is after Herkle. Durkling. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. Gas, bought an energy drink. Anybody else? Anybody else? And then even what you did today. Any like good stories recently? You know, just the small talk, right? Starting to learn a little bit about one another. Something about how Polkadotters 17 can fixate on the windshield. It's a very like writer's brain thing to do. Mookie has like a comedic moment. He basically lives in a sitcom as far as I'm concerned. And debating the value of regular versus mechanical pencils. My goodness. Okay. All right. So sometimes this kind of just peters out. Nobody has anything else. And that is totally fine. I often wonder how much my YouTube is lagging there. Okay. Oh, Polkadotters came in. Said had an impromptu over the phone job interview yesterday. Ended with them saying I'd be better off volunteering for them to help the music festival in August. That's good. Job interview ends with being better off volunteering for us. Worst possible outcome of a job interview. Just don't give me the job. Is that worse than not getting the job? Saying, hey, what if you did it for us for free? We're interested. We just don't want to do the thing of paying you. That's wild. Okay. Cool. Cool. So, guys, while we were talking, I picked up on a few things in this conversation that I thought was interesting. Polkadotters had to stay home because her kid was sick. She had to drive an hour to her partner's place to get her backpack so she could study. Something about an energy drink. I don't know. Just an energy drink. But she focused on a dirty windshield. Potential, I thought might have monologue potential. It could either be maybe something like observational humor that's very Seinfeld-esque, like, why do wipers never completely clean the windshield? It's their only job. They have to wipe, or whatever it is. Um, or or we could have like a maybe in a scene we can have a moment where the metaphor to maybe like a ruined or snake bitten relationship is equated to a dirty windshield that can never fully be clean again. Um, that 30-minute discussion about the value of regular versus mechanical pencils until one of the 6 participants stood up and left the room. Literally a breaking point, a pencil breaking point, a final straw, if you will, is always a good stakes. This actually reminds me of something in Office Space that might have happened post the hypnosis, right? The doctor told me to watch those saturated fats. I think is just a small everyday thing that we probably hear where people go, yep, yeah, that's true. You got to do that. Herkle-durkling is just a fun term for that is fairly new to me that I've started using recently. And maybe there's a way to work that in to. Maybe there's a way to work that in. Or maybe it's the title of something. Or having a job interview end with, you'd be better off volunteering for us. So normally in a writer's room, we've all gathered here with the express purpose of writing something. Normally we know what we're going to write. This takes a lot of time just to pull out of thin air. So we just have to make it up and we have to not think too harshly about it. We have to ask ourselves constantly, what is this? Who is speaking? Who are we speaking for? What genre? What's the vehicle? Right? So, all this stuff aside, we're just going to put it off to the side for now. Let's focus this in a direction. What is this? Is this a 30-minute comedy? Let me make this fucking square a little bigger first off. Is this a 30-minute comedy? Is this a short story? Is this flash fiction? Is this a movie? Is it a poem? Etc. Right? So think about this. Who is speaking? And by this I mean first person, POV, third person, omniscient. Oh God. I'll just do it for this. Third person omniscient. Is it second? You guys. Let's see. Mookie's already pitching premises. A person trying to break into a business late at night got stuck in a square air vent and got cut. The manager found dripping blood in the morning, and a fireman had to cut him out. Is that real, Mookie? Or are you pitching an idea for us to write right now? Because that sounds fake, but it's also like. But also maybe it's so stupid it's true. That was real. Of course it is. Let me go ahead and throw in that story. I'll add that over to our little inspirations, okay? A trespasser gets stuck in an air vent and got cut out. Manager found dripping blood in the morning. Got cut out by a fireman. Okay. I don't know how to spell trespasser. Just the one. Okay. I guess I don't. Grammar's not my strong suit, but I'm a writer. Here we go. A person omniscient. Narrator. Speaking narrator. Who are we speaking for? Right? Who are we representing? Office workers, laborers, the underrepresented, everyday people, a marginalized community. What genre? Comedy or drama? And here too, I'll do a small caveat. What is the subgenre? Right? Mobster, medical, historical fiction, Western, giallo. I don't know how to spell it, so maybe I shouldn't. Giallo. Creature feature. Sci-fi. Vertical. You're right, Mookie. Sorry, you're on the vertical. Let me shrink this down a little bit more. Can everybody still read it if I create a little bit more space like this? I just minimized it a little bit. But we need the space. Yes, etc. Yeah, vertical video. That one time we did the TikTok parody. So we can keep going with these subgenres. I mean, there's like an infinite amount of them. It's insane. What is the vehicle? This kind of is, what is this? I was a little redundant with that question. And then, who are our characters? And then, what do they want? Right? There's an infinite amount of questions a writer has to ask themselves in order to really get a story fleshed out. But in my experience, these are some really good ones just to get the engine revved up. So here's what I'll say. As a person like leading, I'll make the final decision, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear from everybody else out there. What do you want to write? Based on, and there's no wrong answers. This is a big question. To me, I'll throw out an idea, and we'll go back to the what is this. We'll throw out an idea, and then we'll decide the idea that we like, and if it belongs in a 30-minute comedy, as a short story, flash fiction, movie, poem, vertical video, etc. And then we'll start kind of filling this out, okay? So just from today's inspiration, I was thinking about a story where a like a spouse or a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever is caught cheating. Like they have to whenever you said this to me, Polka Dotters, and I wish the best for you, obviously, but we're trying to generate some drama, right? I was like, oh, what happens if you forgot your backpack somewhere, you were staying home because your kid was sick, you need to go you need to study, you drive an hour to your partner's place only to find, and of course, infidelity is low-hanging fruit. It could also be like, well, let's think past the obvious infidelity. What happens if you discover your partner isn't cheating on you? He's lying to you, or they're lying to you because they have another job that they haven't told you about, maybe selling energy drinks, or that they have another name entirely. That they're a doctor, that they said that they would be working, but instead they're Herkel-Durkeling. They lied to you to stay in bed a little bit longer and have some quiet time. And it could just be the lie that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. Mookie says that was a story I wrote. Oh, the firefighter cutting the guy out of the air vent story. A story I wrote when I was a reporter, little snippets that stick with me. I can imagine the person going over in their own mind how they may have gone wrong. Yeah, being stuck. That's kind of interesting too. Right? So let me create some more blank space here. Let's talk about this. Ruminations from a stuck criminal. Why don't I know how to spell anything? Ruinations. No, rumination. Is it just because I put an S on it? Okay. From a criminal stuck in an air vent. To me, that almost reads like a short story, especially if it's just one person speaking and they have no one else to speak to and we're in their mind. That would tell me like, oh, it could be first person. It could be a first person narrative, prose, short story. That's a good one. And I'll add a little bit more. Why they're there, what they had hoped to accomplish, what went wrong, what's going to happen. Like that story deserves to have those kind of questions answered. And if I saw an essay titled Ruminations from a Criminal Stuck in an Air Vent, I'd be like, what? I would stop. That would catch me. Let me see. You go on about how a child was yelling at you from the back seat. Could be another question. Noir-style windshield monologue. Okay. When you say noir style, I think possible subgenre. So, right? So the genre pitch would be drama. Unless you're doing a comedy, of course. I mean, there are like parodies of detective noirs. So let me know. But even if you did treat it as a genre and wrote it dead serious, and it was about something like that, like a dirty windshield, it still might be funny. The criminal idea is parallel to your noir idea. Yeah. So maybe but pitch me some life to it, right? Give me some life. It's a little bit of an idea, but throw some creative spaghetti against the wall. Remember, in these writing rooms, we remove self-judgment. We play with childlike wonder, and uh, there are no wrong answers, but let's develop something that we may never use. Is this actually a detective? Is it a mom stuck in a van with her kid and she's playing detective because the small bag of Cheerios have gone missing and she uh, speaks as if she were a detective noir? And that's how we mix subgenres, right? Like me, I just threw a little creative spaghetti against the wall and I liked it. Um, and you'll like your own ideas as well. And so maybe this is a trap. We'll decide later. But if it's like a family drama slash detective noir, then a mother who is um, unraveling the questions behind her husband's change in behavior is also tasked with childcare and monologues about how windshields can never really get clean again. That has like a lot of life to it, right? The criminal idea is parallel to my noir idea. Could we add another genre? Can we add another subgenre in? Maybe when I got to work, the backpack wasn't there like I thought it was. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Polka Dotters, what do you think of this addition as well? Right? Well, here's the thing. The more specificity you can add onto your idea, whether it's a good or bad choice, I don't care. Um, we need to start trying to fill out these ideas. Now I have a mother. Now I have a character who I'm following. I'm starting to I'm starting to understand whose perspective this is being told through. What is she doing? Unraveling the questions behind her husband's change in behavior, the inciting incident, kind of. Her obstacle, also tasked with childcare. And while this monologues about her windshield is not stakes, it is like a fun little tidbit. But that's something I think we could write. I think that would be something that makes a good short story, a good short film. It'd be a stretch to turn it into a feature film without adding more meat on the bone. More drama, not genre. Yeah. Well, I mean, the creature feature is interesting. So, like, there are no wrong answers. Like, what if, right? We play the what if game. What if this is true, then something else is true. Only for her to find out that her husband, who claims to work only at night, is actually a vampire or a werewolf, you know? Kind of has some Hardy Boys, kind of has some Murder She Wrote with a little what's that called? The Hangover. You always have to have the baby with you. You always have the baby strapped to you for this whole adventure, and only to find out that the reason that your significant other is working late is because he actually can't go out into the sun and he's a constant herkle-durkler. And how did this get past you for so long? Or did he recently get turned into a vampire and he's too ashamed to tell his family, kind of a situation? There's some interesting stuff there, right? There's some stuff that we can actually write. Anything else? Remember, don't get stuck on one idea. We want to cul-de-sac. You don't want to go down a dead-end street. You want to be able to explore an idea, turn around, come back, and keep exploring new ideas. Because the idea that we go down the road on isn't always the one that's going to be the best idea. Well, how do you know what the best idea is? Well, you have to look at multiple ideas. So it's our duty, our responsibility as a writer's room to generate multiple ideas. Take a step back, look at the one that makes the most sense, that excites everyone, that has the most juice behind it. So let's cul-de-sac, right? A little Encyclopedia Brown, yes, Mookie. So let's cul-de-sac and let's come up with something else. Is anybody else inspired by anything today? Let me go back and read some of this stuff. Had to stay home because kid was sick. Had to drive an hour to my partner's place to get my backpack so I could study. Energy drink. Dirty windshield monologue. Why do wipers never completely clean the windshield? That's a question. And 30-minute discussion about the value of regular versus mechanical pencils until one of the 6 participants stood up and left the room. This is great. I said this was great whenever you gave it to me, Mook. Let's talk about this is just something I think we could throw away, but almost like this Herkel-Durkeling, the 30-minute discussion, job interviewing, and ending with you'd be better off volunteering for us. Come on. That's insane. Oh, wait, let me see. Are you guys, am I scrolling too far? Can you read this? I want to make sure you can read it. Okay, cool. So we have some ideas, but we have 2. Not a lot on the board. I really want to see something about a breaking point, and I don't know what it is yet. But hey, I have a room full of writers here. Pitch me some ideas about a man's breaking point. In the style of Office Space, right? We can go through, we could literally steal during a 30-minute discussion about pencils. A man reaches his breaking point. And if we ask ourselves the questions that we normally do, we can put some juice behind this. What does this guy have to lose? Writer's room. You're a bunch of writers. I hired you. You have the job. You're getting paid. You told me that you're creative. You're all sitting around the desk. Give me some ideas on how to enhance. In the style of Office Space, during a 30-minute discussion about pencils, a man reaches his breaking point. What's so special about this man? What does he do after he reaches his breaking point? What makes this interesting? Writers, go ahead. Write for me. Ideate. Give me something. Polka Dotters, I'm going to go ahead and write this down and get ahead of it, but I want to stay on task. Tell me why you couldn't pay me. Something like that, maybe. We'll explore this a little later. Okay, perfect. Polka Dotter says, this man breaks all the pencils. He has a hatred since school, a trauma point. His bully is his boss now, and that guy knows what happened to him. That's a really interesting story. I like the this guy's, let's call this man Dan. Dan the man reaches his breaking point. He breaks all the pencils. His high school bully is his boss now. Kind of like first timeline of Back to the Future. Okay, that's a really good relationship, right? There's a lot to do with that relationship. There's juice in that relationship. Mookie says Dan has to move from his space to the desk next to the water cooler. Has to put up with water cooler talk and the constant gurgling the cooler itself. Oh, that's good. That's like I'm seeing a guy in an office suffering a death by 1,000 cuts. Dan the pencil man. Oh, this is good. This is good. Dan the pencil man. Okay. So now we're starting to get a backstory with this guy. It feels like this guy has been enduring this job by his high school bully who still bullies him to this day, but he needs this job. Why does he need this job? Why does this man stay in a job where his boss is his high school bully who is still bullying him? This guy has not let off the gas since high school. Even his bully has, in I guess like a more mature way, decided to torture Dan by giving him the worst space in the office possible, where all he does is listen to people small talk, and the water machine's always like gurgling and distracting him. Is there even like something more constant than a gurgle, like a small beep, like a fire alarm constantly beeping, or smoke detector always chirping, maybe? So 1B? Yeah, there we go. Ugh, okay, let's see. A beep that is chimed to change. I like how it's not the cliche smoke detector. Water filter. Change time. Excellent addition, Mookie. Way to like take something and pile on. The poor Dan the pencil man. Yeah, okay, cool. Excellent. So this is that's a really interesting one too, right? So writers, give me a good reason why this guy would stay in this job. What does he have to lose if he quits or snaps? Pencil sharpener on the other side of the office. I can't decide whether it's a good idea or to have him in or far away from, or in proximity to, or far away from the pencil sharpener. Because if he hates pencils or if he hates the grinding sound, it might be better to have him closer to it. Okay, but remember, I asked you, why is he in this job that he hates? So don't get too sidetracked with all of the little things that could bother him. Because if we decide to do this, we're going to have that brainstorming session anyway. Copier, fax machine, beside him is broken. Okay. Why does this man need this job? And remember, it's not about the money. If it is about money, it's about what the money can buy. Does the money buy safety, security, a place to live? Does it pay medical bills? Does it buy him a new car? Does it get him out of debt so he can actually start looking for a new job? Is it the benefits? Is it what is it? What keeps him here? My writers, that's what keeps him here. What keeps Dan in the office? This man, who has plenty of job opportunities elsewhere, stays here because maybe a love interest? NATO says, oh, NATO, what's up? Sorry, I nobody was chatting on the YouTube, so I was kind of ignoring it. But now that I know you're here, I'll be more on it. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. So NATO's saying a smoke detector would annoy everyone. Good catch, by the way. Change ink. Oh, the change ink beep. Or change toner. Toner ink beep from the copier. That's being more specific. Oh, NATO says he's an intern. This actually is making me think another question, NATO. What is his age? Because if he's just fresh out of high school, and let's say his high school bully is his boss because of nepotism, then he thought high school would change everything, and it's literally just more of the same. Is A? Okay. So, he's on the younger side. So let's start building this out a little bit. He's on the younger side. This job looks good on a CV and application for college, maybe? And cough. Or he's in love with a coworker. Okay, perfect. So maybe Dan is in love with a coworker. Man, we have some really interesting inter-office dynamics happening here, right? It's almost like a high school drama, but it just moved into an office space. Like no one ever really grew up. Everybody just got paid to sit at desks and torture each other and long for each other. Lots of child support. Maybe owes lots of child support. I can tell you why I don't think this is why I don't think child support is going to work. One, money is a terrible motivator, which is why I say, what does the money buy? But two, we want to at some point sympathize with our main character, and it's hard to sympathize with somebody who's maybe like yeah, we do want you to pay child support support a child, support your child. So it kind of like walks that line. So I'll put the idea down, but I don't think that one will end up making the cut because we're trying to endear the audience to this guy. Internship means no money. Coworker helped him get the internship. Internship equals no money. Kind of being parallel to that volunteering, right? They asked you to do the job and they're like, actually, can you volunteer to do this job instead of, I'm sorry, you applied for a job and they said, actually, can you just volunteer and do it for us for free? Terrible. Okay. So this is good. Now I think now it's time to cul-de-sac. Now it is time to cul-de-sac. Here's what we have. In the style of Office Space, let me check the chats. Sorry, first off. Oh, free daycare at the office. Or free daycare at the office. That's pretty good. Childcare is a real plight. Oh, Me Alpha. Thank you, Me Alpha. I was waiting for that. Oh, Mookie says, if you want to keep it in the pencil world, he had to take out a loan to buy a rare pencil off eBay, and so he needs the money. Or his father actually owns the business and makes Dan work there despite the fact that Dan's boss is a bully. Oh my God. I'm going to copy and paste this and put this in. Okay. Center justified, fonts, Arial, and back to black. Okay. All right. Wow. What a story, y'all. What a story. Polkadot says, for my kids' daycare, it would be $1,000 a month in the summer. That's crazy. So daycare seems to be like a legitimate reason that maybe this guy would want to stay there. And it's kind of interesting to have a mental breakdown at a place that's also kind of babysitting your kid. Who's the real toddler here, huh? Too many good ideas, they said. Well, cool. Good. That's a good problem to have. That's what we want in a writer's room, right? Okay, so let's put on the brakes. Let's cul-de-sac. And let's NATO, you know I'm gonna vote for daycare, right? Yeah, big movement for the daycare. Okay, cool. Yeah. That might end up being what it is. So let's talk about Polka Dotter 17 had another idea. So far, we have ruminations from a criminal stuck in an air vent. We'll have to answer why they're there, who they are, what they had hoped to accomplish, what went wrong, what's going on. I'd like to revisit this because we didn't give it the same service as we did Dan the Pencil Man. And make sure everybody's ideas get a fair shake and fair development. So we can do that one, or we could do the volunteering for a horror movie festival that's off the books. And then you said fold in a creature feature plot, Polka Dotters. So I threw one in. Feel free to build on it or nix it completely and go in your own direction. But let me know, which would be only to discover that it's being run by flesh-hungry creatures who lure unsuspecting cinema fans to them. So, let's pick one. We have to all pull in one direction to actually get anywhere, right? So I want to go back now that we've kind of warmed up our brains to Mookie's idea, which happens to be reality. Mookie actually works for a newspaper and had to write a story about a trespassing criminal who got stuck in an air vent trying to break into a place, and a firefighter had to cut him out of the air vent, leaving blood on the floor whenever they all came into the office. And here, remember all that development that we did for Dan? Let's do it for the criminal and see if we can get invested in the criminal. So let's start answering our own questions. Why is he there? What did they hope to accomplish? Who are they? What went wrong? What's going to and what do they think is going to happen? Yeah, Polka Dotters. I felt that too. It felt like an old Goosebumps book or something. But let's give Mookie's idea some service as well too. So tell me a little bit about this criminal, and maybe it goes nowhere. Maybe nobody's invested, but most people don't do something because they think they are going to get caught, and two, what is he motivated to do? What is he trying to get into the office for? Is it just plain old-fashioned burglary? Is it one of those he needs the money situations? If so, weak. What does he need the money for? Or, to me, it could be this person needs, wrote a letter to tell off his boss. But after he cooled down, realized he needed a job more than emotional satisfaction, and tried to break in and take the letter off of his boss's desk is a potential direction to go there. Sorry. I'm realizing that you guys can't see this. Let's put it here. Let's give it some blank page attention. Can we all see? NATO says, can't see the air vent too far on the left. Sorry about that. Sorry. I fixed it. Also, as promised, my wife will be dinking. Right? For a little bit. I'll get a little dink for a little bit. The job you interviewed for was actually at an old drive-in. Or it was a heist, trying to pull off a heist. All right, save that drive-in stuff for whenever we go back to your idea. Trying to pull off a heist. So give me some more specifics. What is the heist that they were trying to pull? If it's like some of the more modern famous heist movies would be like the Ocean's 11 series, where they're trying to steal a bunch of money from casinos. So we're trying to heist what? From where? Money from a casino? Medicine from a science lab? Weapons from the military? We're heisting what from what? Yes, dinkum, yes. Go screw yourself, Derek. You don't need to write. We just want dinking. Mookie says, now that I think about it, the stuck in the air vent is more of a scene than an idea. It may not have enough spark to develop. That's true. But let's discover that, right? Like does he get out of the air vent? And also, can we talk about what happened before the air vent? Because this does seem like an Act 2 moment, right? A little fun in games. Something that wraps around um, the spine of the story. But I do like the idea of opening on somebody stuck in an air vent and them telling us, the audience, the story of why they're there in a series of flashbacks, leading us up to the present moment where they either get cut out by the firemen, the air vent collapses under their weight, they become so sweaty that they lubricate their bare skin against the air vent and can finally move to accomplish their goal. And then we're back in the present day. Now we have some more momentum with the story. We've developed an investment emotionally to the character through all of the flashbacks that they're thinking about how they got stuck into this air vent. It doesn't have to be just a scene if we don't want it to. Oh, that's cute. Trying to... Sorry, Muka, let me pull this down a little bit. Trying to get back a job application they lied on. Don't want to get caught. Because now we don't have a criminal in an air vent. We have a desperate hero in an air vent who's trying to correct their moment of weakness. They don't want to be a liar after all. Now we're rooting for the person stuck in the air vent. I think that's really fun. Anybody else? Writers? Firefighters come to get the criminal out of the air vent while Dan is in the meeting. Ooh, crossing stories. The man in the vent is there during Dan's pencil meeting. NATO, this is actually something that I like to do a little later, which is like, okay, we have all of these ideas. Is it possible to combine two really good ideas? For instance, could our Dan be the man in the air vent, the guy who snapped, who is in love with the woman in the office, whose bully is his boss, who maybe he gave a resignation letter to, but whenever he went home and his wife said that she lost her job and at least his job has childcare, so he can work while she can go out and look for jobs so they can get their life back on track and she can get her dignity back, and how much this means to her, that he'll be able to spend time with his kid at work and the daycare. And he's like, but I just resigned, and now he has to sneak in to get the letter. You know what I mean? Like this Dan, we could start at Dan's lowest, him stuck in an air vent, and go back and tell this backstory. Blood dripping on Dan's desk. He's stuck since the previous night. In the real story, he was stuck all night. Oh yeah, NATO. But it's fun to combine, right? And if you made this person stuck in the air vent Dan, well, we've already done all that development work on Dan the Pencil Man and that kind of like semi-separate idea. I'm already invested in Dan. This guy's got a crazy, tragic life. He is our underdog. We're rooting for him because any win for Dan would be a major victory at this point in his life. Oh my God, when firefighters cut him out, they wrote in their report. Still shaped like a square. Oh, it's kind of outdated, but it would be clever to work in a way that somebody calls him a square. Before the vent situation happens. Polka Dotters says bye. JK LOL. What? Oh, because of Dinkum. I get it. Okay. Medicine that the guy had to steal because his wife is dying. Ooh, interesting. So, taking a pivot to steal medicine for his dying wife. Very cool. Let's pivot. Let's do some oblique strategies. Let's change this a little bit. What if it's not a man in an event? What if it is a woman in an event? How does that change your perception of why somebody is up there? What does switching gender do for us? Also, what does changing age do for us? What if the person stuck in the vent is a kid or a senior citizen? How does that make you feel about where the story goes? Boss is a hippie, 70s feel. Be a square, dude. Let me check and make sure. Everybody's still able to see this? I'm not writing off screen. Okay, cool. All right. Just making sure. Okay. Okay, so let's do that writing exercise, right? Let's change somebody give me a different variation of the story. Does it change why somebody would be stuck in an air vent if they were not a man but a woman, or not middle-aged but a senior, or a teen, or a kid, or a dog, you know? Let's push the boundaries of our imagination and see if there's anything good there. Polka Dotter says, if it's an old person, they could have dementia, and maybe they aren't a criminal. They're a retired HVAC tech. Wow. Polka Dotters for the win. Person invent is old with dementia. Retired HVAC tech. Whoa, that's so cool. Kind of like sad and tragic though, too, right? Becomes a little less funny and a little more like, oh, a little more like the old guy from Up or something. Feel my heartstring being tugged at. Mook, meow. Who else is in NATO? What are we thinking? What would happen if we changed the age or gender? And if nothing, cool. That's good too. It's just good to poke the bear sometimes. Mookie says the circulation fan sounds like it has a bad bearing. Got it. Okay. So, if that's the case, if we feel like we're cooling down on this, let's cul-de-sac. Let's pick ourselves up, turn ourselves around, and go back to the main road. We got this brainstorming done. Let's go to this. Make it a little bit more isolated here. Okay, let me make sure everybody can read this. Okay. Volunteering for a horror movie festival that's off the books, only to discover that it's being run by flesh-hungry creatures who lure unsuspecting cinema fans to them. And Polka Dotters, you were saying that this is like a drive-in horror movie festival? So it feels like it's almost like a period piece, like it has a moment in time, doesn't it? Oh, Mook. Okay, so sorry, you threw this in right before I moved on. I'll put this in real fast. He says, fireman who rescued a child's trapped kitten. You do know I like dogs too much. Okay, so let's everybody just kind of shake it out, right? Get out of your body. Get the ventilation system out of your brain. Let's pivot to this new idea, explore it, and then we'll take a step back and then we'll look at all. Let's take a look at everything that we have and see if there's anything that we're excited about. Okay. So we have NATO 2303. We've got Polka Dotters. We've got Mookie. Got me Alpha. Grinding away in the writer's room. Polka Daughters 17 says, so what if there's a weekend lineup and everything is fine until nighttime? What do you mean weekend lineup? Wait, so to me I feel like drive-throughs happen at night because if can you see the screen during the daytime? I thought all drive-throughs happened kind of at night. Am I wrong on that front? I like the idea of like night falling and maybe volunteering to get the drive-through set up today uh during the day, and then I could see like an image of the sun going down and the purple sky and all of these headlights starting to line up and all of these cars coming to the drive-through motoring in. Like it's camping. It's movie festival. Never been to a movie festival where you camp. Okay, but I will say when they're camping, there's no reception. I still don't understand when oh wait. So you're saying there's just no horror movie festival. You're just saying that there's maybe a story about creature features and they're campers. I'll finish this thought. I think what you're saying is just something separate, which is campers are in the woods. There's a creature in the woods. Just like that simple. Sorry, I know it's hard to type all this out on a phone, like a really clear idea, and maybe there's a lag. So I apologize if I'm not making the right correlations. Yeah, she's dinking the hell out of that game, isn't she? Let me see. All right, so writers, we have a situation where someone was volunteering for a drive-in horror movie festival that's off the books, only to discover that it's being run by flesh-hungry creatures who lure unsuspecting cinema fans to them. When night falls, things get weird, or they are campers in the woods. Oh wait, okay, I have some clarity here. No, the drive-in movie / music festival is genuinely a nonfiction thing I've been asked to volunteer for, like in real life, but I like the idea of people who are hiring me are creatures. Yeah, yeah, okay, got you. I see. So this is like this festival is like Burning Man, but for cinema. People camp out, but it's not like a drive-in where you need to be in your car and tune your radio station and watch the screen. It's just people camp out. There are screens at different points. I'm trying to think of like how Coachella would organize at different tents. Okay. Okay. I think that's better. So here's what'll also help us clear things up. Clear things up. Okay. Let's call our main character Claire. I'll take a happy mistake. Why is Claire there? Who is Claire? How old is she? Why are we telling the story? What does she have to lose? Why is she volunteering? Is she even a fan of cinema? Is she a fish out of water? Is this a fish out of water story? Or is it like Scream, where Claire is such a cinema horror movie fan? She knows all the tropes, and those tropes help her survive the night or the weekend. Hmm? Writers? Ooh! NATO says, the night of a new moon. I just like the ring on the night of a new moon. ... That could be part of some lore, right? NATO also says, oh, and call it the New Moon Horror Festival. Cool. Very cool. For single people? For singles. I like the idea of mixing things. Okay, we got a breakdown. Now remember, we could have options here. We have Claire, 34, geek. How? Is she a geek? She is a 60s horror fan. Surely there's a Reddit for them. Okay. Tell me, what does Claire want? What does she want? And as soon as we know like what our main character wants, it's kind of easy to extrapolate what gets in her way, what her obstacles are, what her inciting incident might be. What does Claire want? Hmm? Polka Dotters has a suggestion for Claire. Claire, in her 20s, needs a summer job between college semesters to look good on a resume. And let's treat a resume like cash, right? Like, I want the money. Okay, that's fine. Everybody wants money. The more specific that we can talk about Claire, the more we can endear ourselves to who she is. So, endear her to us, rather. So, what is the job for? The resume is it's just a piece of paper. What job does she long to get? What's her big career goal? What has she wanted all of her life growing up? To be a what? And keep in mind, writers, of the story that we're telling. We're trying to put a man with no hands in a room full of doorknobs. We're trying to create conflict for our characters to overcome, grow, and learn from. So, why, out of all of the things that Claire could possibly do as a sort of summer thing between semesters, does she volunteer for a drive-in horror movie festival? I think that's telling us something, don't you think? Does she want to be a director? Does she want to be a cinematographer? Does she want to be a art historian, a video archivist? It'd be cool too if she wants to do prosthetics, special effects. Maybe that could be like her big skill that gets her out of some trouble. I could see later in a story like a special effects artist being able to disguise themselves as one of the other creatures that disguises themselves as human beings, perhaps. Let's see. Oh, a duo. A duo. Let me see. Mookie had some ideas. I just forgot to look at the Twitch. I'm sorry. Here we go. So Mookie's ideas are the attendance for the night goes down because many were eaten during night one. So the volunteer is blamed for not working hard enough. I like it. And even more, like, to build on that, Mook, it would be like, well, can she really be blamed by the people who are, like, eating the people that she's supposed to be wrangling? One, that's fucking hilarious that somebody would do that. Like, eat a bunch of members and then blame her for poor attendance as a volunteer. And then two, it's kind of a metaphor for modern business capitalism. And then also, I like the idea of her just noticing a lot less people day by day, needing less volunteers, or even the volunteers also starting to disappear too. Working this big festival, being like, where did everybody go? Everybody's tents and camps are still here, but they're all empty. And everybody's cars are still here. They didn't drive anywhere. Did they wander out into the woods? Like those kinds of like questions and that kind of unsettling reality dawning on people could be a really cool moment in the movie where the main character finally realizes something terrible is happening here. NATO says Claire has a not so popular horror themed food truck. Oh, she's hired by the film festival. I like that. I like the specificity of that. Claire has an unpopular horror theme food truck and is hired by the film festival. I like this because there's I was getting my car repaired and I was walking around North Hollywood and I s- I saw like a horror movie cafe, and it's just a coffee shop. It's just a coffee shop, but its aesthetic is goth. And there's just pictures of Freddy Krueger and uh Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, and they have like little voodoo dolls everywhere, and it's kind of like goth employees making you macchiatos. It's weird, but I can also see how Claire like has this good intentioned idea, thinking that it's going to be really great for business. But I don't know if you're like me. One thing I don't want to do is have a big meal during a horror movie because of the gross out uh potential there, right? Like it's tough to eat a plate of spaghetti and watch vampires bite necks all day for me personally. So I can see like Claire having that kind of crisis where her food is like horror movie themed, but nobody wants to commit to eating um penne with zombie brains or something like that. Okay, so NATO says, I'm sorry, Polka Dotter says, um, she is in her 20s. Needs okay. So we're all caught up. We're all caught up. Okay. So we're at good, 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 good. Okay. And let me check Twitch. Oh, Mookie says make it a duo. Claire's best friend Sam has a hidden dark side, and Sam convinced Claire, who knows nothing about it, to help volunteer. I see. I see. Claire was convinced by her what'd you call that? Her seedy friend Sam to work the festival. Sam has a dark side and lured her there for his own various purposes. Got it. Love it. Okay. Okay, y'all. Let's we learn at the end the creatures have a chop shop. Have a chop shop. Interesting. You know, whenever you say chop shop, I don't think about cars. I think about like if a creature had a chop shop, it would be human bodies, arms and legs, like people literally getting chopped. Is that what you were thinking too? Is that what everybody thought? Okay. So, wow, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's try and take in all of our ideas here. And remember, we got this from Small Talk today. We're just finding inspiration and creating something. Oh, the creatures have a chop shop to get rid of the cars. Very, very industrial creatures. Okay. So, let's kind of shake it out. everybody, I would say, like, if this was the writer's room, we just did a little intensive thing. Let's do a little, like, a little, a bathroom break. Yeah? Everybody, grab a sip of water. I'm gonna refill this. Um, don't even think about this stuff. Let it sit in your subconscious. Hang out for a moment with yourself. Use the restroom, get some water. We'll be right back. Okay? Like literally under a minute. All right? Okay. How did it feel? How did it feel to take a little break? Yeah. Come say hi to everyone. Now that you're up. You're the one who got up. You want to say hi to the internet and the world? This is Sugar. She just kind of woke up from a nap and she's confused. But to be fair, she's always kind of confused. Yeah. Good girl. You're such a good girl. You okay? Yeah. All right. Yes, you're so sweet. I love your dog so much. Want a little treat for being cute? Okay. One more thing I'm gonna do, and that's treat the princess. Here we go. Hang out there. Here you go, boo. She loves those peanut butter smart bones. Loves them. Okay, so we're back. We're hanging out. We're taking a look at everything. Let's, oof, man, zoom out even more? That's insane. That's too much, isn't it? That's too much. Wish there's a way to kind of split the difference here. Okay, she's pumped. Oh, you left, came back, and then there's just Dinkum, and now Puppy? Yeah. We just took a small break. That's it. Puppet singing. I mean, I still have it here. Do you want the puppet to sing? I can still pull up the old video. It's gonna be weird for Polka Dotters. Oh wait, no, you're on YouTube too. Okay, let's just for old time's sake, let's do it.
everybody, let's take a break. Get up and stretch your legs. Give your pet a scratch, drink some water. I'll be right back in about 10 minutes or so.
They give you everything you wanted? Huh? Is that what you wanted, Mook? What is this? Yeah, polka dotters. It's something I used to do whenever I had my stream for like on Tuesdays during the day, and it would last like 5.5 hours. That's a puppet. I'll get it for you. 1 second. This is the puppet I affectionately call Barry. Hi there, how's it going? It's been a while since I've been on TV here. Let me take a look here. Ah, polka dotters, hello! Nice to see you. And let's see, who else? Oh, Mookie's here! Hello, Mookie. Nice to see you again. Who else? Oh, Nato is on YouTube. Nice to see you, Nato. So glad to have you tuning in today. Really appreciate it. I have to go because I am not writing today. Now, if for some reason or another this makes me go viral, I will be back. Take care. Bye.
All right.
And puppetry. Oh my goodness. Yunsu official. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the community. How are you doing? So, back to writing. Here we have a couple of things that we're going to vote on and maybe even combine. So, if you are on just Mookie, what does that symbol mean? Why does that symbol come up? I don't get it. On the vertical live stream in front of World. I don't understand. I see it all the time. Somebody help me understand that symbol. I can't search for it and educate myself. Anywho, here's what I'll say. If you are on the YouTube vertical live stream, it's going to be hard for you to vote. So if you have the wherewithal, please either jump on YouTube or Twitch. I'll put them on both, and then we can start voting on which idea we like or want to mesh together. So before we start polls, let's take a look at our ideas. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so we can read them individually. Let's look at this one right here. Genre, drama, subgenre. We're thinking like a family drama detective noir. It makes me think like the comp. The Brick. Has anybody seen Brick? By Rian Johnson, like one of his earliest films with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, really good. But just a noir with an unlikely noir character. In this case, a mother who is unraveling the questions behind her husband's change in behavior, while also taking care of her kids. We have the monologue about the windshield never getting really clean again. And for her to only find out that her husband, who claims to work only at night, is actually a vampire or werewolf. Cool. Sticking in kind of that dark, moody vibe, we have volunteering for a drive-in horror movie festival that's off the books, only to discover that it's being run by flesh-hungry creatures who are luring unsuspecting cinema fans to their deaths. When night falls, things get weird. The festival's kind of like Burning Man, but for cinema. People camp out and there are screens at different tents. And it's called the New Moon Horror Festival. And on the night of the new moon, stuff gets weird. Perhaps it's a horror festival for singles. We have Claire. She could either be a 34 geek 60s horror film buff, or maybe a 20-something-year-old who needs a summer job between college semesters to look good on a resume. I do think that probably out of all of that, I really liked her being the horror food truck, horror-themed food truck owner that is hired to attend this festival. I like that because there's interlocking themes of like these creatures are eating people and she's there to serve food to the people. She's essentially like fattening up these people for these creatures inadvertently. And there could be themes of like food and horror, and I don't know. It seems those two things seem thematic. It could be easily like a metaphor for like the horrors of farm raising animals or veganism or something like that. We see the attendance for the night starting to dwindle because people were eaten during night one. As a volunteer, she's blamed for not working hard enough. And Claire was also convinced to do this by her seedy friend, Sam, who has his own nefarious schemes cooking. And then in the end, we learn that the creatures have a chop shop and get rid of cars of the festival attendees, and maybe her food truck is in danger as well. I didn't even tie those two together till just now. Maybe NATO did. NATO, a vegetarian horror-themed food truck would be so funny. Yes, you're right, because now we're introducing some irony. We have a vegetarian who's in the midst of like the most disgusting, vile, carnivorous, cannibalistic movie. I would say even further is like, can we have like a vegan food truck owner in the midst of cannibalism or carnivorousness? Something like that. I like how the protagonist is a direct reflection of the thing that she's up against. I think that's a strong narrative. Okay. We also have, in the style of Office Space, during a 30-minute discussion about pencils, a man, Dan, reaches his breaking point. He pranks all the pencils. His high school bully is his boss now. Blood red beets. Get your blood red beets here. Impossible meat. Yes, 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 yes. Now you're getting it. Yeah, right? Dan the Pencil Man has to move from his space to the desk next to the water cooler and has to put up with water cooler talk and the constant gurgling of the water cooler itself. The water filter change time beep is always chirping in proximity or far away from a pencil sharpener. The copy or fax machine beside him is broken or always beeping, or the change tone or ink beep from the copier is always beeping. Maybe he's an intern. He's on the younger side. He took this job because this job looks good on a CV, not a DV. And he's trying to get it ready for his application to college, maybe. Maybe Dan is loving with a coworker. Maybe he owes a lot of child support. There's free daycare at the office. He has a coworker who helped him get the internship, but the internship, of course, equals no money. Or he had to take out a loan to buy a rare pencil off eBay, and so he needs the money, or his father actually owns the business. It makes Dan work there despite the fact that Dan's boss is a bully. And we have ruminations from a criminal stuck in an air vent. Why they're there? Oh, these are just questions I asked you guys to prompt, so we don't need this. The person wrote a letter to tell off his boss, but after he cooled down, realized he needed the job more than the emotional satisfaction and tried to break in to take the letter off of the boss's desk. They're trying to pull off a heist. They're trying to get back a job application they lied on because they don't want to get caught. We started crossing the stories here. The man in the vent is there during Dan's pencil meeting. When firefighters cut him out, they wrote in their report, still shaped like a square. Having to steal a machine for his dying wife. We kind of pivoted. What's the heist about? Maybe stealing, not a machine, medicine for his dying wife. The boss being a hippie, being very like, don't be a square, dude. Person in the vent is an old person with dementia, a retired HVAC tech. Circulation fan sounds like it has a bad bearing. And the fireman who rescued a child's trapped kitten could also be the person who is in the in the air vent. Okay. I'm going to put this into a poll, but I gotta say I have some strong feelings about what it is. And I feel like you guys do too. And that's the art of development, right? That's why we do a bunch of different ideas. Remember, the first one we did was this one. And then look at how much we built out all of the other ideas. Like once we started understanding what actually invests us, what actually endears us to an idea. So give me a moment. I'm going to start some polls on each one. You know, I don't know where you left off, but we're going to do a poll. You came back in time for the polls, Nate. Let's see, start a poll. So, I'm going to do this on YouTube. I'm going to do it on Twitch. I'm going to take a tally. We're going to see which one's the most popular here. So, we have the what to write. Ruminations from an air duct. We have horror, vegan, food truck, horror fest. We have Dan, Pencil Man. And we have Mom, Detective, a vampire story. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4. We did 4. Yep, 4. Perfect. Okay, so that poll is launched on YouTube. Let me do it on Twitch here. What to write? Well, to Dan, the Pencil Man. We have ruminations from an air duct. We have vegan food horror fest. We have detective noir mom vampire vamp, I guess. Okay, if you're on Twitch, you have 3 minutes to vote. 3 minutes, and the poll will expire. And then I'll manually cancel the one on YouTube. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, my little pretties, vote. Vote, vote. Vote, my little pretties, vote. Oh, you know what I should be doing? I should be drinking coffee. You guys vote. I'm gonna make myself some coffee. Real quick. Oh no, Polka Dotter's gotta go to class. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I won't be any longer than 3 p.m. my time. That's for sure. I have things to do. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's 50-50. Don't you tell me where the best viewers are. Parched Corey Hard. Welgabiscu. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wish Polka Dotters didn't go. I feel like she could have broke the tie. Now it's gonna be up to me. Now it's gonna be up to me. Oh wait, no. I was wrong. Wait. I read that wrong. Maybe it's not. Dan. It's 1. So, vegan. Oh, okay. Vegan food is in the lead. Vegan horror food truck is in the lead. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, the Twitch poll is over. And I'll end the poll over on the YouTube. Okay. Dan the Pencil Man has received 1 vote. Detective Noir Vampire Mom story has received 1 vote. The Vegan Food Truck Owner Horror Fest has received 2 votes. 2 votes! Excellent. So, while these other ideas are not bad, we do have to pick a lane and we have to kind of stick with it, right? Let me zoom out. Push this stuff to the side. Nothing wrong with these ideas. But let's just kind of get them out of the way. Punch back in. Let's see if we've answered any of these things. Remember these questions that we started off with? And also, can we read this? Maybe it's too far off. Let me make sure you can see what I'm seeing here. Oh, the picture of me is in the way. It's okay. We kind of know what that says, right? I think these questions are a little more important. Which is, what is this? Is this a 30-minute comedy? Is this a short story? Is this flash fiction? Is this a movie? Is this a poem? Is this a vertical video? What is this? What is this? To me, I think I can get a movie out of this. I think I can also get, ironically, a short story out of this. I bet I can get maybe if we just do no frills, a 5,000 word short story out of this. I don't think this has enough legs to be a series unless we start populating it with like an ensemble of characters. I'm going to say this is either feature or short story. And you might think, how can something possibly be a feature and a short story? And for that, I'll direct your attention to Dennis Johnson's Train Dreams, which was a short story that was developed into a feature. I think it can happen. Sorry, it took me so long to say that. I think it can happen. That's how I'm seeing it. And as the person kind of like leading this fictitious writing room, you just have to make a choice. So we might be writing a feature or a short story. Who is speaking? And by that, I mean, what is the point of view? Right? Are we telling this from Claire's experience? She seems to be the only main character. There doesn't seem to be an ensemble. It doesn't seem like we're going to. It doesn't seem like they're co-leads where it doesn't seem like there are co-leads where if we have a scene with Claire, then we're with someone else definitively. Because even though you called them a duo, Mook, if Sam is acting nefariously and Sam gets his own scenes, we have to be careful about not revealing Sam's intentions for Claire, because when characters are alone, they reveal their truth. So if we did spend time alone with Sam during the course of this story, does it build tension and anticipation to understand, to help us understand what kind of danger Claire is actually in? And how can we also sympathize with Sam? Sam is not just a villain for villain's sake. All villains believe that they are the hero. Why are they doing this? I feel like, personally, if we can answer the genre, we'll be able to answer if our point of view is limited or not, right? In a comedy, I could see having two separate points of view that collide, rubbing them up against each other. I could also see in a drama the slow unfurling of information, the slow reveal of information. Right? I'm thinking like classic horror movie. And the reason that I even say classic horror movie is because it's going to have elements of comedy, just like they all do. Elements of camp, almost. That could also be a subgenre. So let's say this takes place from Claire's POV. Who are we speaking for? Thematically, what is the greater message here? Horror comedy. Yeah. I'm thinking like okay, so if we go into comedy, let's just call it a comedy. Then we're talking about camp. Giallo's kind of definitively drama. I haven't ever seen like a comedic Giallo, to be honest with you. I don't think. It's a little sci-fi. Maybe the creatures are aliens. Maybe they're gremlins. I don't know. But something that doesn't exist in reality kind of makes it science fiction-y a little bit. So if we make it a comedy, then it feels like camp, creature feature, sci-fi, almost like a throwback to the 80s, 90s horror comedies, in my opinion. But no, I mean, we could also just, as writers, actively try and make it modern. So, like, let's look up some comps, right? Because we're gonna try and sell other people on this idea. So this is what we would do. We would look up a competitive market analysis, or a comp is short for comparison. What could you compare this other movie to? Right? This is like Jaws meets Rambo. This is like Edward Scissorhands meets Up. Like let's start comparing it to some movies. What are you seeing in your mind? Let's all get on the same page. We mentioned some stuff earlier. Like to me, I kind of picture kind of like a Gremlins, or I picture like Gremlins meets Us. The Jordan Peele Us, right? That campy kind of creature feature, but I want to see it in like the lens of a modern horror. Anybody else? My writers? Can you write me some comps? Or am I doing this solo? Is everybody still there? FYI. A Creep Show episode, you said. Creep Show meets Creep Show. Let's see. Maybe it doesn't have to meet anything. Kind of has that Creep Show. We have kind of reminds me of Tales from the Crypt too. Do we have any modern comps? That's a big issue that a lot of writers fall into. We have our favorite movies, and some of our favorite movies are from 40, 30, 20 years ago. And when you tell somebody, I basically have Titanic meets Gone with the Wind, people are like, okay, I don't know what kind of money that translates into in 2026. I don't know if we put out Titanic today that this audience would go and see it. Certainly not Gone with the Wind. So that's just a weird, great example for me to pluck from. So can you tell me, as a business person who's investing in you, in your movie, in our story, something that has recently made money that is also like this? Remember whenever I said earlier, familiar yet surprising? We're doing it now. We're doing it now. What's familiar yet surprising about this? Tell me a modern horror comedy that did well, that I can go home and watch today and say, oh, I want to make one of those and give somebody some money to have that be made. Mookie says, create your own thing for future comparison use. I've never been good at the blank meets blank thing. Well, it doesn't always have to be meeting something, right? Just tell me what it's like. what it's like. So here's a perfect way to do it. I'll just tell you what I do on my own. Go to Google. Hi Google. Nice to meet you. I know you're a popular search engine. Tell me, can you list 5 recent horror comedies that did well? Okay, so we have horror comedies that include from 2022, The Menu, Bodies, 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 2022, Ready or Not, 2019, Happy Death Day, 2017, and Tucker and Dale versus Evil because it's a cult classic. But interesting, all of the top 5 horror comedies that were well received, 2 of them came out in 2022. 2022. It's now 2026. 4 years since we've seen a horror comedy that's done well. Maybe as an investor, I would say, well, are horror comedies not popular anymore? Let's see. Horror comedies 2026. Let's see what's been put out this year. We have one called They Will Kill You. I've seen the poster for that. Send Help with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. The Bone Temple was not a comedy. Bride. Interesting. Okay, cool. So, what this is telling me is that horror comedies are still in vogue. They're still cool. They're still being made. They're still being financed. Excellent. I'm okay with proceeding with my idea as a horror comedy. I will cite the stuff that I just said. Send Help. They will kill you. Oh geez. What did I just say? Oh, you know what? Five Nights at Freddy's. I understand that that's IP, but still perfectly in the horror comedy. Okay, perfect. Excellent. So now we have some touchstones that we can go back to. Yeah, Ready or Not meets The Office. Excellent. Excellent. I'll do your first one. Bodies meets The Office. And Ready or Not meets The Office. Excellent, NATO. Excellent. And this isn't like people tell you never to do the blank meets blank thing, and they do it anyway. Whenever you say, Mookie, create your own thing for future comparison use, I don't have one locked and loaded, to be honest with you. This has just kind of become the quick elevator vernacular of how to get a point across really quickly. And it's business. It's not even creative. You're talking to producers. You want to say stories that are modern, that make dollar signs flash in someone's eyes, that they've seen, that you can point to and say, wow, that did really well. I took my wife to see that. It was really good. It grossed over $100 million. Okay, well, mine thinks kind of like that. Well, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Because producers are investors, usually, business types, suits, admin, people who are giving you money. They want to get a return on their investment. Okay, now let's keep going. Who are our characters, huh? So we have Claire. We have Claire. I kind of let's say she's like 20s, 30s. Vegan. Food truck owner. Um, maybe we said geek, fan of 60s horror, vegan food truck owner. Let's make her flawed. Let's give Claire kind of her log line. So we can say self-righteous, vegan food truck owner, right? So she has a flaw where it's like it's her way or the highway, and meat is murder, and there's no in between. I don't care about the laws of nature or what humans have done to survive until now. Veganism, of course, has its merits. So part of this movie will be metaphors for a fair and balanced argument for her way of life and against it. Also, an obstacle could be like, in order to stop these creatures, Claire is forced to eat meat. Could be human flesh, I don't know. But it seems like something that we would owe our Mookie says, sorry, I just got distracted. Mookie says, I understand that it could be good for others to get the flavor of it and to get the creative juices flowing, but I've never been good at creating good mashup comparisons. You don't have to create them, Mookie. It's literally it's just research. It's just research. Literally every time. What genre am I writing in? Well, what were the most successful movies in my genre 5 years ago? And whenever I picture that in my movie in my head, what does it kind of look like? And then pick it. It's analytical. Don't overthink it. Not a place to get creative. It's a place to put some marketing materials so you understand kind of what you're promising to a producer or an investor. And then write your own story. It's not going to come out how you expect anyway, right? Like so many steps happen before a movie is made. Like the idea is gestated. It's put down on paper. It's edited so many times. And then it gets handed off to a director, and that director hires a cinematographer and a lighter and a gaffer and a costumer. And they have all their own ideas that they want to bring to it. And then they shoot the thing, and then production issues come up, and you can't get the windmill, and you don't have the Volvo, so swap out the sword for the nunchucks and see if that'll work. And this actress has to be done because she's due to film another movie in Australia, so cut her scene short, or we're going to film it at night instead of during the day. Blah, 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 blah. Right? All this stuff compounds on each other. Then it gets to the editing room, and then the editor makes a choice. Like, this movie doesn't make sense. We need to cut this, cut this, cut this, rearrange this, reshoot that, blah, 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 stick it in, blah, 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 blah. And then something comes out, and you hope to God that it's good at the end. But it's gone through so many versions that I wouldn't allow myself to get hung up on the mashup. It's purely something to put on paper for someone else to help you keep you on track. Nothing more, nothing less. But your story will evolve with or without you. She works there. She has to eat flesh to prove she's one of them, so she cooks it. Yes, yes. To prove she's one of them. She has to eat meat, and she cooks it. Okay, cool. Let's see. So we have Claire, self-righteous vegan food truck owner who often, to her own detriment, gets on her soapbox or takes stands against the tiniest of moral infractions, is what I'll call them. But this is not just Claire alone. So maybe Claire has a sous chef, somebody that we can grow to like, who is the voice of reason, who will get killed by the monsters. So we have a chef. Okay, how about this? A chef. How about Sue? Claire's Sue, her sous chef. Also 20s, 30s, maybe. Claire's sous chef. And long time collaborator. Somebody let's my writers pitch me some ideas of who Sue could be. Nada says it would be the first horror food movie, like some anime manga thing or about food. Ah, I see. Maybe. So, what are we thinking here? 1 second, I'm gonna start over my my vertical. Somebody pitch me some character descriptions about Sue, and this is where the writer's room comes in, right? Like we all bring our unique experiences and personalities to the table. We have like a weird aunt or uncle that we could base Sue off of, a weird best friend, somebody with a predilection towards, I don't know, quirkiness, or somebody so straight-laced it seems odd. I mean, let's make Sue. Lives across the hall from what? The hall. But I like the idea. Dedicated goth and Claire's best friend. So neighbor? We'll see. Okay, we'll see if where she lives matters later. Like what does Sue want? You know, like how Claire is a self-righteous. Like what is Claire's what is Sue's flaw? Does Sue believe in the vegan lifestyle? Oh my God. Thank you. That's a great question. Sue is vegetarian. Maybe there's some animosity there. Because we did say Sue might be a little bit more of like the voice of reason. Our character has a further way to travel for her arc than Sue does. I mean, then Claire does. Jesus. And I like that her physical diet could represent that. She humors Claire. She's glad for the job. I like to think that maybe she chain smokes. Something kind of funny about a vegetarian who's like, "Oh, no thanks. I don't eat meat." Love that for some reason. It's just cool vibes. I already like Sue a lot. Claire doesn't know how to drive, so Sue drives. Sue drives the food truck. Even better than making our main character incapable. Is it possible that Claire maybe lost her license due to a reason? Or does she just not know how to drive because she's lived in a major city and took public transportation all of her life? And remember, whenever you say something like this, it has to come back later to drive. So that would mean that we owe a scene with Claire trying to drive the food truck. Probably during Act 3 to her freedom, you know? And Sue doesn't know how to cook. She's a sous chef and doesn't know how to cook. Let's see. Sue drives the food truck. Not so good with the food. Okay. It's not that she doesn't know how to cook. It's that she's not like a professional chef, I would say. I want to make these people a little grounded and not completely incapable of things. Okay. Is everybody still seeing this? I didn't go too far off screen, did I? Okay. Let's see. What do they want? Okay, why are they what do they want that leads them to take this job at this festival? And maybe in answering what they want, we can develop some more characters because we still don't have an antagonist yet. Whoops. Jeez. Go ahead and bold Claire, bold Sue. Those are our two characters. We have two main characters, two protagonists right now. But two characters does not a movie make. That's a lie, but you know what I mean. We'll be right back in about a minute or so. Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-ba. Okay. Well, I think there has to be somebody who's coordinated the event. I think we need our antagonist, our big bad festival showrunner, perhaps. Almost like an events coordinator. That we can literally say, "Oh, that's Debbie. She's the event coordinator. She handles everything. Don't mess up. She'll bite your head off." You know what I mean? Oh, you have to run off? Okay, no problem. See you, NATO. Thanks for all the contributions. I appreciate you. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay, let's see here. It's just me and you, Mook. Just me and you left. So, with that being said, seeing as how this writer's room has emptied out, oh geez, how did I do this? There we go. Maybe we should take a little break from the writer's room, come back to this. Unless you and me plan on writing this whole thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, put a pin in it. It's a lot, isn't it? Let's go ahead and I'll save this. And we'll close this. Let's give that work a break. Mook, tell me, how are you doing? Do you need a break? Are you at work? Have I officially distracted you? Three-hour stream. That's pretty good. Pretty good. We got some fun stuff done. I'll be right back in about a minute or so. Distractions are welcome at work. Okay. Let's see here. We can also. Well, okay. Different projects am I juggling right now? I try to narrow it down. I've got By the Neck, the Executioner novel that I started. I have a compilation of a bunch of short stories that I'm putting into a book right now. And as I finish each short story and get it publishing ready, I'm also submitting it to different magazines, online journals for early publication. Um, so that whenever it comes time to publish the shorts in a collection, I can say previously published by, and they have a little heat behind them. It's kind of like winning your movie, like winning some laurels at a film festival before going to distribution. Being like, well, this did win the grand jury prize at Slamdance, so maybe you do want to pick it up and put it on Tubi or whatever they have. Those two things, and so it's a never-ending barrage of short stories that keeps coming. And then on the screenwriting side, I am working on the sci-fi pilot. The sci-fi pilot about the combination of like nuclear-powered artificial intelligence in orbit, and I think I'm going to do like a approximately 60-page pilot episode, build out the Bible to the series, and then just put that out there. Saying it's based on, yeah, exactly. And then what else? Oh, and then Gabe and I are working on like a short YouTube series that we could actually just film and put out ourselves about existential detectives. And whatever that means. Let's see. Let me talk to you about this. Let me get some of your brain on this, Mook. So it's like an episodic YouTube, somewhere between 3 and 12 minutes long. It's kind of the beginning and the end of the human attention span there. And we have two guys who have kind of decided to take it upon themselves to investigate coincidences in their own lives that the universe presents them, just seeing where it leads. It's kind of like the idea of being pronoia, which is basically optimistic that the universe is actually working for you, not against you, and that people um, are all like pulling in your direction if you allow that to be the case. So allowing yourself to have magical thinking. It's, also needs to be kind of sharp, grounded, so we get to film it, but have like a surreal quality to it. So our comp would be like Always Sunny meets um, I Heart Huckabees, something like that. And we have, let's see, I have this premise where I was trying to follow a procedural. So if you want to, have you ever like had to write a procedural before, Mook? An open your heart approach, yeah. Think about like a detective noir, except the detective is optimistic. You know? And with that being said, there's like a cold open where you see the crime, you see the incident, you see something go wrong, you see something be witnessed, or discovered. Then you have like the Act 1 actually being the case. And then you get your leads, your first leads, which lead to complications. Like your detective's initial theory gets tested, and some suspects will come to light. And then the first promising lead is usually pursued, and then it typically hits a wall, dead end. Somebody's alibi checks out. The evidence points somewhere else. The witness is caught lying. The case is harder than it looked. Then you have Act 3, which is your big old midpoint reversal. This is where new information will reframe the case. So the victim isn't who they seem to be, or the motive shifts. A second crime occurs. Or like if it's bones, like a forensics reveals something or elicits a confession because now we have evidence and blah, 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 blah. And then the complications of that become more complex. The detective in the scene will commit to a new theory and pursue it, but you'll start to face pushback from like the institution, the man, or it butts up against like personal boundaries that they have. Think about like in shows, it's like warrants are getting denied, or a politician says, "Hey, you can't pursue this person, or I'll make your life a living hell," or some other sort of moral tension. Like I found out the killer is actually my best friend. And then of course your Act 5 is your resolution, where you have like the final piece that falls into place. You have your big confrontation, usually like in a courtroom in all of these procedurals, or it's like a big interrogation that will just break the case wide open and you get the big confession. But more importantly, you answer all of the audience's questions. So with all of that being said, I was trying to write like a 5-beat existential version of a procedural. And first thing that I came up with was based on a true story where I went to Goodwill and I got a cool jacket, cool writer's jacket, right? It was really sporty. And I found a phone number inside. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I found an address inside. And I was like, I wonder if I should go to this address. I wonder if I should follow the signs of the universe. I never acted upon it, but now I feel like, ooh, that might make a good episode, and I could write out what potentially happened. Mookie says, would have happened. I wrote a Law and Order spec script back in the day just for an exercise. That's really cool. hey, I mean, if it's good, if you like it, you can always submit it. There's a ton of like spec script contests. Don't let it just sit there and do nothing if you did the work. Mookie says, does the audience know Columbo from the start, or do they follow along? I believe Columbo is you start with the criminal and the criminal action, and then Columbo is introduced, and and you're waiting the whole time for Columbo to figure out what you already know. And so the tension is actually the procedural in reverse order. So the audience knows who done it from the first 2 to 5 minutes. And then the rest of the episode is the tension of, will Columbo figure it out? And will the right person be brought to justice? And if you are interested in like a modern day Columbo, check out Ryan Johnson's Poker Face. It's a really well done series. It's really fun. It's fun to watch. Hour and a half from now, so 3:30. An interesting idea. Yeah, it is. And it actually pays off. You would think, why would an audience stick around for a crime that for a crime that's already been solved? But it does work. It does work. The mechanics work. Columbo was famous, was a famous show for a reason. Well, Mook, here's what I'm thinking. It's kind of dead in the chat. Been on for 3.5 hours. Not bad. Not bad at all. My wife is done dinking. I have to go get a haircut soon. This is all getting a little too wild. My God. I know you're at work, but I don't know. I was thinking about just maybe ending it here. I think it was a pleasant time. I got to spend a real amount of time. I got to do writing stuff. I got to hear everybody's imagination at work. It was really fun. He said, I had an idea that might be a good hook for you. Lay it on me, Mook. Lay it on me. 2 time frames operating at the same time, and you bounce between the two. Okay. Well, let's map it out. Let's math it out. Where's my freeform? Go ahead and tell me your idea, and then like I'm gonna put it on the oh, let me switch back to the 5 things. That has some. Okay. Create a little blank space here. So I like to Nolan this. Got an arrow. 2 timelines. Have you ever seen Christopher Nolan draw out his structure? We're gonna do it here. So give me the hook. Give me the story. It would start with someone going to a garage sale and finding something like a vintage peace sign and hangs it on the rearview mirror of their Volkswagen. It triggers a past event where the same peace sign metal hangs in an old VW Beetle. Okay, so let's see here. So we have the present day timeline, and we have when were the Volkswagen Beetles popular? The 1960s? Is that what we're thinking? Something like that? Crime of the past is seen, and the modern person ends up solving the crime, or there was no real crime, or there was no crime at all. The modern person returns it to the original owner as a sense of closure for them. It's intertwining of timelines and how they help each other. Okay, okay. Interesting. So let me see. So we have we have people in here? No, people, yeah. I got this guy. And he purchases buys a vintage VW what do you call those on cars? Like hood ornament? This guy's buying a VW hood ornament. All right. Here we are in the 1960s. Does this guy travel to the 1960s at all? Or it's just past and present timelines staying separate? Is there any intersection, is what I want to know. Because you say something in the present day triggers something. So tell me. This guy purchasing the thing kicks off an event here in the 1960s, right? No intersection. Okay. So we're just visualizing this. So a past crime is seen in the modern person, ends up solving the crime. Oh, it triggers the narrative, is what you're saying. I see. So here we would have activities. I don't think they have a crime activity. Oh, ornaments. Huh. Interesting. Anywho, let's see. Ooh, crime. Perfect. And a crime takes place in the 1960s. But crime is not a character, you know? What kind of character are we talking about? Maybe like a police officer? People. Work. Police officer. Yes. A police officer is attempting to solve the case. Right? I mean, that hat's too big. I think I might be having too much fun with this. Yeah, that hat's too big. Haha. No, yeah, yeah. Love this. Loving this. Okay, the object is almost a character and the hook for the anthology. It's almost a character and a hook for the anthology. My question is now, what is present day doing? Present day is oblivious to the crime in the 60s. Present day has bought a VW hood ornament. Meanwhile, a very real crime that has consequences and evidence and perpetrators and clues are taking place in the 60s, and I can see how that one goes forward. But what makes the present day timeline worth jumping to? It'd have to be like the object in question is returned to its rightful owner, you said? Hmm. Like a guitar? So, a criminal steals a guitar. Cop is called in to solve the crime. Meanwhile, this guy buys like said guitar and is standing in for the object, right? Jeez, that makes it look like an upright bass. And then we have here is my big question for you. What happens in the present day? And who can lose the guitar? How sad can we make this? Hmm. Maybe it's returned to somebody who's so old. You know? think I'm just having fun playing with these symbols. But this guitar should end up back to being back to the person it belonged to, who's now super old. Oh, my error is in giving you ideas for 2 different episodes of an anthology at the same time. I see. The modern day object has a serial number. The modern day person researches as to what happened to the object in the past. Look at the past timeline fed to us in that fashion. See it play out. Oh, I see. I actually had a similar idea and for an inanimate object, but I actually just wanted to go from start to end of like the life of a guitar. It's like formation, it's birth, you know, it gets passed around um and played on and then sold and then sold and then sold for one reason or another. It gets dinged up. Maybe it makes it to a rock star on stage who like smashes it, and you think it's the end of its life, but then somebody like a fan like gets the guitar rebuilt or reconstructed, and then it goes on to like live in a case perfectly insulated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, only to have like a security guard take it out every night and still plays on it a little bit, and brings a little bit of happiness to people. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like the the journey of an object and telling like people's lives through that lens. That's it's always been intriguing to me, for sure. But also, didn't you like my illustrations though? I feel like it's pretty badass. Nailed it. Nailed it on the graph. Helps fulfill the destiny set in motion by past events. I guess it's hard for me to like latch on to just pure plot and structure, because what I really invest myself in, Mook, is character and relationship. So it's hard for me to anchor my brain into something until I care about like the person or the people that it affects. Because I don't, it's tough to like fall in love with a timeline on its own, of like what happens in that timeline, and why are we choosing to tell the story in this order, right? There's also something that I wonder, because the structure has to benefit the story. If you start out with just structure and no characters, or plot and no relationships, it becomes a vagary, kind of ethereal. But people or characters, root it to the ground. And like see, we say the modern day person helps fulfill the destiny set in motion. Fulfill a destiny. Well, we don't. What's the destiny? Set in motion by past events. But also, who is the person and why them? Why are they the person? You said that's the thing about what I wanted to create, a detective anthology. The structure and plot can change each episode. Okay. But like, why do we care about this detective? Like, that is secondary. Like the idea that the structure changes each episode. Because you can do that. The first thing I think of is Dan Harmon and the Community series, which parodied every genre known to mankind. And so sometimes it would be a black and white noir. Sometimes it'd be a story told in reverse, like Memento. They would always do a nod to their favorite movies with different structures, and they would just change out those characters, but I mean, make the same characters forced through the structure of other movies. So I would ask is like to really like get your detective anthology series going. Who is this detective and why do we care about them? And there's something here where that you've stumbled upon, which is pretty good, which is, well, not all detectives have to solve a crime. Some detectives can just find lost objects. We know that some detectives, like PIs, get hired to like follow spouses around and take a picture to see if they're cheating or not, right? The object of the week. So what you're almost talking about is like some sort of like found object forensics detective, almost like somebody who goes to yard sales or salvage yards maybe, and finds some sort of standout piece and then does the research that puts us back into the origin of the object. It almost feels like something NPR would do, and it would almost feels like a journalistic series, doesn't it? The object of the week that triggers adventure is really the only constant. Oh, so there's no reoccurring character either. It's almost like Black Mirror where they're like just new characters each episode, and the theme is technology gone horribly awry. So yours would be there's an anthology series like Black Mirror, but found objects trigger the narrative of each episode. I think I'm getting it. Also, this does nothing. No. I'll go back to having Dink in the background. Yeah. My wife's kicking ass. Ooh. Okay, okay. I got there, Mook. I got there. Yeah, absolutely. But see how important it was for me to be able to draw a comp from Black Mirror, so I could understand that there's new characters each episode, and that the common theme is triggered by found objects. That really helped me grasp your idea. So, you know, comps for a reason, baby. Comps for a reason. All right. Well, Mook, okay. I guess I'm going to slow things down, turn this off, have a little lunch, which I've been looking forward to, honestly. And no, no, we got there eventually. And we'll do this next week, you know? I'm not saying I'll be able to do it on a Wednesday day, but whenever I can, I will always try. I appreciate you being here, Mook. I appreciate you participating in the writer's room and always bringing some really good ideas. I like having you here. Okay. So with that being said, Mook, do you want me to kick you off to a new Twitch stream? Oh shit! I forgot to check YouTube. What's up? Hi, Rick. Hi, Rick. How you doing? How are things over there in Louisiana? Oh, man. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. And, let's see. Can I see who's in here? Let me get the chat back up. There. There we go. There we go. Okay, well, guys, I will be seeing you soon. Mook, if you decide to stick around, I am going to raid Squeaka. She's having that Tomodachi life. And she's one of my favorites. And if you wanted to waste time at work, ooh, she's a good one to do it. All right, so let's go ahead and raid Squeaka. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We're waiting in 3, 2, 1.